What's going on? My name is Ashton. This is Angela. We are the founders of Active Solutions AI, where we to scale our business from 0 to $1 million in less than 12 months. And today we're going to be talking about the top 5 softwares that you need to scale your business quickly. Number 5 with us is going to be
a credit card processor. I think you could choose really any, but the most valuable one that we've seen is Wave.
There's a reason for that as well. So a lot of people use Stripe to start. It's very user friendly. It's something that you're able to get accustomed to very quickly and just start collecting payments. So really you just need anything that's going to actually start taking payment from people. The problem with Stripe is as you continue to scale, from what we've seen, it's very easy to start getting funds locked in the account because it's technically a high risk payment processor. So we use Wave and it's been just as user friendly. It's a little bit more reputable. It's a Canadian company. You want to go over a couple of the ways that we use Wave?
Yeah. So we have a subscription-based model for our business. So it's very user-friendly to the point where you can set up certain subscriptions. You can set up multiple different types of checkouts, which means that we charge people for different things. So we have multiple different tiers, different setup fees, different monthly recurring revenue ranges or prices that we use. And so it's very easy for us to be able to control that aspect just because, for example, I think when we first started, it was like Zelle payments, Venmo payments, right? And those things aren't very promising because they could easily dispute that. And so for us to become a reputable business, we want to make sure that we have ultimate control of payments and then also understanding what's coming in and out because you should always know your books.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wave actually comes with a lot of additional services that you can utilize to like bookkeepers, etc., so that you can actually keep track of those numbers. Now, one of the other important things as well, I think you could use QuickBooks, you could use PayPal, depending on the type of business that you're running. You also want the payment links or the payments that you accept to be very user-friendly to different platforms. So for example, I can create a payment link for any checkout that I want in Wave. I can also take a code and I can embed a checkout onto a website so that people can just go in, click a button and submit payments. You're gonna wanna make sure that you have the ability to at least do that in whatever platform that you're using. But I think when starting out, you just need to be able to collect money in some way, shape, or form.
Number 4, we have a communication channel with your clients. You should always own the communication channel with your clients because one, obviously there's a lot of communication that just happens within our business because we have multiple different types of setups. In this case, we use Slack. So with Slack, you can create multiple different private channels within your clients so that they can't see any other channel within the actual app. But I think there's a certain number of automations that you've also set up within Slack just for team development too, if you wanted to speak on that.
Yeah, 100%. So a couple of the ways that we utilize Slack, obviously, communication with clients as you continue to grow is extremely important. You don't want to be texting them out of your phone, which is exactly how we started. I used to just collect people's phone numbers and I would text them directly from my phone. When you get to the point where you have 20, 30, 40 clients, etc., you need a systemized way to be able to talk to your clients, send them updates, whatever it is that you need to do. Now, other things that you can do is, for example, one automation that we set up is when we get leads to submit forms or give us answers, like someone submits a form on our website, we have a channel that lights up for our entire team to see that we collected a new lead. This means that our appointment setters can actually go ahead and start to reach out to those leads. And if they submit answers on the form that suggests that they might be a higher quality lead, like the revenue of their company is between $100,000 and $500,000 a month, then that means we probably want to spend more time on that lead, and the appointment setter can actually create a list of priority on who they reach out to.
I think also with the communication channel, the more that you have control of it, the more that your clients actually rely on you. So for example, if we utilize Slack and we have a private channel with our clients, they know that it's not going to take them like mounds of efforts to try and reach somebody for help. And in turn, they stay with you longer because they rely on your business so much to the point where they're texting you as if you are also working within their company. So I've seen clients message us sometimes even daily. We had a client even say to us, I really miss our chats because we haven't talked to them in a while because they've been so busy because they've been seeing so much success. But in turn, they lean on you so much. And it's also for protection for your own company. If If you have documentation of every single type of outreach or conversation that's held with your client, obviously, if something were to ever, God forbid, go wrong, you have lots of social proof and almost like receipts to be able to prove, one way or the other to find obviously something that's going to help both ends. Right?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point for client retention specifically. One of the things I always say, I think you can go from 0 to 1 million if you get down marketing and you know how to sell. But in order to get to 10 million, I truly believe that you need to have some type of SOPs that can help you reliably and predictably get clients to stay with you for longer periods of time and continue paying you money. That's one of the biggest ones. And then another cool thing about Slack is that if you're using it for internal communication with your team members, you can have, a channel for marketing, you can have a channel for sales, and it helps everybody that's within a tight knit group make sure that, the communication isn't just getting all over the place. You actually have these channels that are built specifically for specific things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also just because it's way easier to communicate through that way. I think we get lost in emails, we get lost with our personal phone numbers, business phone numbers, whatever it may be. And you never want a client to not be able to reach you. So number 3 is actually one of my personal favorites, but it's having a project management tool, in which case we utilize Asana. Asana is an incredible software, very user-friendly, but there's lots of different things that you can do within there. So on for our team, on the fulfillment side of things, there's certain things that we've, created automations within Asana to make sure that there are no holes in your bucket. As you start to scale your business, as you start to get more clients, as you make more money, there's going to be more problems. So to avoid those problems and to stay on top of that, you need to find a way to make sure that all ends meet and there are no cracks or holes within your process. So Asana has been an incredible tool for us to keep track of every single client that we onboard. And every time that happens, we have a kind of client progression board so that our fulfillment team logs in every single day. They'll see the newest sign up kind of come up, and that gets converted into a project, and it'll automatically task and assign an account manager, one of our prompt engineers, and then myself, just because I like to kind of oversee everything in the business. But besides that point, it creates multiple different tasks so that it cannot move on to the next stage of the pipeline until every task is completed. And that is a way for us to really decrease the amount of error that we have in projects and to make sure to stay on top of everybody without having to have that communication with your team. So I hate unnecessary meetings. So Asana has been a really great tool for us to have to limit meetings, limit communication, and just be able to look at the board and see the task progression automatically. And then in turn, when we have our pre-launch call and once it moves to the next stage, we present what was set up to our client. Everything is set up to the T because the tasks have been marked off. And it means for a very streamlined onboarding process in which after you close a client, it is very important to resell them almost and reclose them after every single time that you have an interaction with them.
Yeah, and I think you need a very strong foundation. Even if you're just starting out, you don't want to get to this point where you're building something on one pillar and then everything crashes down and you have to rebuild over and over again. You want to build a really strong foundation from the jump, even if you're only signing up one person a week or one person a month, and you technically don't really need a really sophisticated project management tool. Everybody who wants to scale their business will eventually, hopefully get to that point where they're signing up 10, 20 people a week. Things start to get very, very hectic, and there's no way that you will be able to control all of that and continue providing the same level of service to all of your clients like you were at a lower volume if you do not have a project management tool.
Yeah, and I think something to focus on too is that once you sign a client up, yes, revenue is generated, great. But how do we keep that client from feeling any sort of buyer's remorse, right? So for us, yes, Asana is a great project management tool to keep our systems in alignment and making sure our team's doing what they need to do. But at the end of the day, how does the client feel? Once they feel like they've made a great decision, we need to remind them over and over and time again that they've made the best decision coming on board with your company. So I think that on both ends, yes, it's great for project management on the fulfillment side of things, but it's also to just maintain that momentum of positivity with the client, like, hey, we actually do know what the heck we're doing, and continue doing that high level.
Absolutely.
Number two, we have is Zapier. So Zapier is not something that I personally have worked on too much, but I think on the systems and operations, if you can explain more so of how much Zapier has helped us. And then really, I'm just the one that comes up with the ideas and the automations happen. So
Absolutely. Also, the way that we're breaking this down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is in order of priority. So number 5 is, in our minds, probably the least, I think all of them are important, but the least of importance. And then number 1 is going to be the most important. So 2 is actually a huge one for Zapier. I think anyone should, and everybody pronounces it differently. It depends on what type of day it is. On
Zapier,
yeah, I have no
tomorrow.
idea. But everybody should have this software, and it's basically a software that makes things speak to each other. So for example, if you have a project management tool and a CRM and they're different platforms, you can create automations that connect those two platforms. And you're going to need more, or even Wave, like we mentioned before, connected to our Slack channel. Anytime we have a payment received or collected in Wave, we send a notification to our entire team that we signed somebody up, and then everybody gets to celebrate. So little things like that. You're able to create automations that make things speak to each other. And I think this is honestly one of the biggest skill sets you can have, either as a business owner or as some type of service provider. You need to know how to utilize this platform. And it's one of the softwares that I think I invested most of my energy in, especially when I first started out, because there's not a lot that you can't do if you know how to use this software. Way back in the day, before there were a bunch of CRMs having all of their automations internally, I used to use Zapier to collect leads from Facebook and zap them into a spreadsheet, and it would automatically notify business owners anytime a lead was generated. And this was the first marketing agency that I started. Obviously, it's a lot more sophisticated now, and there's more things that you can do. They have things like tables that you can create, chat bots that you can create and embed on websites. It's very, very helpful.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And I think, especially if you're a one-man team starting up as a business, it's so important to try and automate your business as much as possible. And obviously with AI, that can kind of get mixed in the rut. But I think with Zapier, it just makes for a much more efficient process within your business, right? We're all forgetful. We're all human. So to be able to automate some things like certain reminders. So for example, for our team, on the fulfillment side of things, once we actually launch a client, we have a Zap. That's what they're called, a Zap that'll actually remind the account manager 3 days after they launch, 5 days after, a week, 2 weeks, a whole month, and then 2 months. Those are literal Zaps that are just automated to remind our account managers to actually check on that client. So again, it kind of goes back to my other point of constantly just winning the client over and over, time and time again. So it's really helped us just I guess limit the amount of human error that can happen in day-to-days as you scale your business, because it's automated. And Zapier can really connect to, almost any system. So we've been able to create really sophisticated systems for our own clients, just based off the platform alone. So really cool.
And then number 1, everybody needs a good CRM. And this is probably where everybody should start, with either 1 or 2, Zapier or selecting a good CRM. The CRM of our choice is GoHighLevel. And this is one of the CRMs that we rely on for our business to operate. If GoHighLevel disappeared tomorrow, I don't know if we would be around. So one of the cool things I think that a good CRM can provide is a lead generation system, like automation system, or a lead management system. Whenever you're generating leads, you need a way to prioritize leads or optimize the organization of those leads so that you know who is high priority, who is low priority, how many leads came in the last 7 days. You need a means to talk to them, send text messages, send emails, make phone calls, etc. And we use it for really just about anything.
Really everything, but if we were to break it down, so let's talk about sales first. So, it's a really great tool for lead management, tracking sales, tracking leads, the engagement of every single lead that you have. But I think on the forefront, we used to also work out of Excel sheets. And while that might be great, as you start generating more leads, you need lines of communication. This CRM has a system where you can make outbound dials and text messages. Now it's integrated to WhatsApp and as well as emails. So you have 4 different channels to reach these leads all under one system. And I think that is actually amazing. And it's a lifesaver because everything is housed in one system. So you open up one contact, you can understand all the different lines of communication that happen within that account. All the calls are recorded. So it's very easy to do sales training as well. But I think on the sales side of things, it really has to do a lot with lead management. But then on top of that, you can also utilize it for certain cadences. So if you don't want to personally, and that's maybe where the AI portion comes in, but we'll call them automations since it's GoHighLevel. But if you don't want to text a client every single day or text a lead every single day for whatever reason, if you have some sale going on, and you want to do a text blast or email blast, you can create these automated cadences, and really, it's the most sophisticated CRM out there. So there's not a cap on how many people you can have engagements daily. So on the sales side of things, I think that's definitely super important. But I mean, anything outside of the automations, like where do you feel would be a great strength?
I mean, you can it really crosses over into just about anything. So when you bring it into the marketing, for example, it now integrates directly with Facebook accounts, and you can actually launch ads directly from the platform. You can also create landing pages. You can create websites. You can host domains. You can create custom fields, which are basically like little forms of code so that you can populate people's first names or emails or birth dates or whatever in emails that you send them to make them more personalized. So there's one of the cool things that we use for it is our onboarding as well. So we're able to sign somebody up, and we use these custom fields to create a contract and populate their information in the contract, and it automatically gets delivered to them upon sign up. So we don't actually have to do anything manually.
Nope. It's like the minute that somebody's onboarded, we'll collect the payment in Wave. We then get a notification in Slack that somebody has signed up with the opportunity value that we've created in GoHighLevel. It'll send that person, our new sign up, a text message welcoming them to the team, as well as all the forms and the contracts and the scheduling link all under one email within GoHighLevel. That then gets automated as soon as they fill out the form into Asana for our fulfillment team and our onboarding team. So every aspect of our business is somewhat automated because of these 5 things. And that's what really makes for a much more streamlined process. And we started just us 2 at one point. So we needed these certain automations in place to make sure that we weren't missing out on any area to ensure that it's the best experience 100%. For our newest sign up.
And whether you're a current business owner or an aspiring business owner, these are 5 things that I believe you truly need. And you can think of the broader spectrum of things. You don't have to use GoHighLevel. You don't have to use Wave, but you need these types of things to communicate with clients, to collect payment. You need a CRM. You need means of lead generation, etc. So these are the top 5 things that we think are most important in order to scale your business. We appreciate you watching this video. If you take a look in the description below, I'm a big, firm believer of you taking the initiative and learning how to do all of this yourself. But if you do want some help with Active Solutions, we'll have a booking link in the description. We also have a 100% free school community that shows you how to generate your own leads and how to get more bookings.